Welcome. In front of me is a ZTE Blade V70, and today I'll be going over unboxing along with a quick look at the device, its specifications, and just give you my general opinions about the phone itself. Okay, so let's get straight into this by completely crapping on this bullshit right here. So we have 256 gigabytes of storage, which is fine, and then this abominable garbage I despise seeing. It's misleading, and at worst it's just straight up scamming. Telling you that it's a 14 gigabyte RAM is absolute bullshit, and then giving it a fucking asterisk right here like it's, I don't know, supposed to change something that you're trying to F around with people. It's just pissing the shit out of me. And the thing here that absolutely tilts me is the fact that these cunts decided to give you 4 gigabytes of actual RAM and then give you plus 10. You know what? Why the hell would you limit yourself? Why not just put that you have 256 gigabytes of RAM in here? I mean, fuck, why stop there? You know? So this is absolute just bullshit right here, and scamming. And also, it's a little bit damaging to your storage, which is this number right here. As these 10 gigabytes don't come out of freaking thin air. This isn't Hogwarts right here. This number needs to come from somewhere else, which it does come from the storage itself, meaning that you don't actually have plus 10 gigabytes and still 256 of storage. You actually have 246 gigs of storage plus 10 gigabytes of RAM. So there should be like a minus right there of 10 in this case. If you want to do that fucking plus right here, you're supposed to subtract it from somewhere else. We're not breaking physics right here. So anyway, that's one thing that pisses me off. But let's see, maybe the rest of the phone probably will suck too, but hopefully not. Now we also have some basic information, like it's a 6.7 inches, a 120 hertz whole screen. That's a way to describe it. Whole screen. Okay. 50 megapixel AI camera. Oh, wow. And 5,000 milliampere battery with more AI. Get this shit out of my face. Okay, let's move on to the phone. And on the phone we have about, well, the same bullshit that we had on the box. Great. So here's our device. Let's set it to the side. Yoink that out of the way. 40 hours of battery life, SIM tool, instructions, warranties, and other garbage. Cable that can't even be packaged correctly. That's great. You're supposed to do it like this. Here, that's how you use it. ZTE. That's what you're supposed to do. Look, just put it in here then. Shit. I'm struggling with that myself. Voila, there you go. So you're supposed to package your shit. Anyway, moving on. Got a silicone clear case, and another bullshit that pisses me off, which is the inclusion of a plastic screen protector. It's plastic, as you can see, and this piece of shit should have already been on the device out of the box, because otherwise this abhorrent garbage will have air bubbles when you put it up yourself. I wish you luck putting that perfectly yourself. It's almost impossible. So there is no screen protector applied to the device out of the factory, which this piece of shit should have been out of the factory on your phone instead of included separately in the box. So anyway, let's move on. And additionally, talking about this, if you're gonna include a screen protector, include a tempered glass. They're not expensive. You can literally get them at like cents. So it shouldn't be that difficult thing to add to the device. And tempered glass is much easier to apply to your screen without actually having any kind of crap show up under the display. So yeah. So based on this kind of initial look, this is already a budget device through and through. So I most likely should probably tone down my expectations, but yeah, that's not for me. So moving on, let's talk about the display right here, which I already talked about, but obviously they kind of skipped some of the important information, like what I think type of the display here we have, and also what the resolution of it is. And the resolution right here of this display is 720p, and so more precisely 720 by 1612 LCD display. Oh, great. Now again, budget display, so I should tone down my expectations, and this is honestly, for $100, not a bad display considering it's 120 frames. So that is a kind of a good thing, though arguably it will probably depend on a person. Some people might actually like higher resolution over the 720p, maybe something like 1080. I think I myself would prefer the 120, as this just gives you a nicer and a smoother motion when, for instance, scrolling to language selection right here. It's not the best display right here. These letters do kind of smear a little bit when in motion, but honestly, for $100, I can't really complain. Now, let's actually change it to English. Whatever. And let's quickly go to the setup. Now, while going through the setup, you can kind of see how sluggishly it goes from page to page. Though, decent amount of these pages is kind of going relatively smoothly. Not every page. So, you can kind of see right here. So, let's see. Navigating through the system seems to be, for the most part, smooth. Might have a couple hiccups, but seems smooth for the most part. So that's good. And the device actually is being powered by a Unisoc T606 processor. Now there's another version of this device which comes with 8 GB of RAM, which if you're going to pick up this device, I highly urge you to go for that one instead of the 4. Having an actual RAM that is at a bit of a higher capacity will be much better than going for the cheapest possible thing that you can get. Both of these options, no matter which RAM option you pick, will have 256 GB of storage. Now it is expandable via an SD card, so that's also great. And you just lower down the brightness a little bit. There we go. So other than that, we have a 5000 mAh battery that can be charged at a measly 23 watts of power. But that being said, this device costs $100. This, on the other hand side, is closer to like $800. This charges at 25. 2 watts faster on a flagship device from Samsung. So it is a slow charging speed. I'm not gonna kind of justify this, but some other companies think that 25 watts is okay enough to put in their flagship devices and charge nearly $1,000. So I might not like the fact that it only is 23 right here, but shit, some manufacturers can't conceive any faster speeds without their devices actually blowing up for no reason. While China is making phones that charge at 125 watts. So yeah. So for a budget device, this is, I would say, fine, considering for people, Samsung is fine. So this definitely should be fine. And let's move on to the cameras. As a budget device, it most likely will kind of struggle with this. And if we flip it to the back, we have what looks to be a triple camera setup. Looks can be deceiving though. So I can already tell you this is a fake by the looks of it. This is a real one. And I can't really tell if this is fake or not. So let's open up our camera. I'm gonna quickly find it out. So let's get started. So I'm gonna cover up this one, which I think it's fake. Let's see, 2x zoom, nothing. Portrait, nothing. 50, nothing. Panorama, nothing. Video, again, nothing. So not a single one of these modes uses this lens, so it's a fake like I mentioned. So let's cover the other one, this one. Again, nothing. 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 So it's all using, like I mentioned, this. So technically this phone only has a single 50 megapixel camera and two bullshit ass cameras that are pretending to be something while they're absolutely effing nothing. Great, I love to see this bullshit on phones. So that we're past this. Now with the 50 megapixel camera you can record videos at 1080p 30, and then at the front we have a 16 megapixel in this hole punch, and that also does 1080p 30. So nothing really substantial right here at any point, which honestly for $100 you shouldn't really expect much. And yeah, that basically sums it up in terms of specifications. In terms of build quality, it's plastic, apart from obviously the display. The back is plastic, the frame is plastic, and luckily we do have a Type-C charging port, as this has been mandated on companies to basically include. And surprisingly enough, what hasn't been mandated, but it is, here is the headphone jack. We also have the speaker grills at the bottom, and we have our power button, volume rockers, and this, I don't know if isn't actually a fingerprint sensor. Let's quickly check. Okay, apparently it's not showing results when you're typing them, so that's great. Wait, no, not update. What am I checking? Where the hell is the screen lock? Piss off! So we have pin, pattern, and password, none, and we do have fingerprint. Okay, so this is actually, the power button here doubles as a fingerprint sensor. I was kind of considering this, but I wasn't sure, so I wanted to check. So there we go, that's basically the device right here. For $100, it is bottom of the barrel right here. It doesn't really offer much for the money. And if you can, I highly urge you to maybe save up more and get a better device. Phones like this with relatively weak processors and just kind of skimping on everything do tend to have problems. Just generally kind of user experience is kind of poor. So generally, if you're looking for, a phone and you don't mind spending a little bit more, and I don't mean like, I'm not going to be saying 500 is what you're supposed to be spending. No, and neither anything like flagship. Flagships at this point are just kind of useless. They're there to just try to get as much money from people for nothing really. And the reason this is a thing is because, well, in reality, mid-range devices have become really damn good. So depending on what you want and how much money you're willing to spend, you can have very, very good devices that will last you a decent amount of time. And one of those that I'm always kind of coming back to would be the CMF phone, either 1 or 2 Pro. They're about the same in terms of performance. In terms of cameras, the 2 Pro will be much better. But if you're looking for a cheap device, then go for whatever you can get on a bigger discount. And typically these devices sold for about $200 at release, though for instance the first one came out over a year ago, so it could be cheaper than $200, obviously, for the purpose that it's not necessarily the newest device, but it's still going to be infinitely better than what we have right here. So in terms of user experience, you're gonna have much better time using it, and both of these use a much better display and processor and can charge faster. So these in itself are already great improvements that I personally would consider worth the money, the extra money. If you are willing to spend it, I highly recommend looking for something along those lines. Specifically the processor in there and the nice display will be the defining kind of difference between these devices, which will make the usability of said device much more pleasant. Watching content on it on an AMOLED display with also 120 Hz refresh rate is much nicer than watching it on a cheap screen like an LCD that we have right here. And because the processor is much faster, you're gonna get through everything much quicker, and you can even do gaming on it. If you're into that, gaming on that phone will be okay. It won't be great. It won't compete to, flagship phones, but it will definitely be much better than what we have right here by a long margin. So could be a great option for several different reasons. And both of these devices, even the older one, the CMF Phone 1, will be significantly better in terms of photos than what we have right here. Now, I remember there was also Poco ZF. Is it this one? No, it couldn't be this one. Let me quickly check. Could have been this one, right? Yeah, there's also a Poco M8. Let me see if there's another one. Okay, no, this is probably the one that I'm thinking of. So there's also Poco M8, which bears a lot of resemblance to the CMF phone. And the difference is it has a little bit of a bigger battery life, or bigger battery generally. Same thing when it comes onto the display. It's great. I think it is a little bit bigger in size compared to the CMF phone. So if you're looking for a bigger display, maybe Xiaomi would be better. Price-wise, it looks to be about $30 more. And also Roxay Snapdragon 6 Gen 3. I think this processor might be a little bit weaker than the CMF phone, but I'm not certain about that one. So I recommend checking it out first. But both of these options will still be great alternatives if you are willing to spend a little bit more. Now this is basically where I kind of cut off the spending in a way. I don't really recommend, if you're looking for a good cheap phone, that's basically as good as it gets. These two devices that I listed right here, these are like at the cheap range, as $200 is what I'd consider like at the top of low-end devices. But what they offer is actually closer to like mid-range device to closer to high-end almost, as there's a lot of features in there that are like high-end, like AMOLED displays with high refresh rates, decent charging speeds, and good cameras. Though they won't be competing with obviously flagships, but for the price, it's a no-brainer. And honestly, the only other device that I would recommend picking up if you're looking for like the greatest experience, well, still on a budget, would be the F8 Pro, I think, which is also Poco. Now that is basically double the price at $500, but again, this phone competes with devices that are at like $1,000. Now I know we're kind of looking at a budget, so this is just like a little insight if you're interested. Generally, I would recommend stopping at that 200 mark, which again, double what we have right here, but more than double in terms of what you get. And it's well worth saving up to maybe pick that up instead of sticking with this, or looking for something at this range. The thing is, cheap phones are getting really good, and well, good phones, or like really good phones like flagships, aren't really getting cheap, to be honest. They're actually getting more expensive. So when it comes also to like the very bottom of the barrel phones, like these ones are $100, some even costing less than that. I think the cheapest one I've seen was like $70. These are not offering almost anything worth the money here. Though to be fair, this one has that high refresh rate, so that is already, for that price, that is already a standout feature. But generally, I would recommend going for that higher end, the 200 mark. And this will be literally for low-end devices, like the sweet spot. You get absolutely banger device for still a very affordable price. So anyway, I hope you found this video helpful, as there's not much more to say about this. And if you did, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.